Chandra Vikash. Uh, my journey in peace and harmony, and to end about 500 years of what I discovered as treachery and deception of what's broadly called Western domination, began with sitting in the screen, in front of screen on 11th September 2001. As I saw the World Trade Center tower collapsing as a metallurgical engineer from IIT Kharagpur 1993, my clear sense was that a building cannot vertically collapse. It defies the laws of physics and the laws of thermodynamics.
That's right.
So I began investigating deeper into what exactly was going on in the world. And few years later, there was Peter Vibro's American Mania. And there was European Fact-Finding Commission, which said that there were bombs trapped in the basement. My field of work at that time, which was intelligent transportation system, was deeply affected because the whole focus moved away from sustainability and smart transportation, where General Motors also wanted every car to be node in the system. William Clayford Jr. on record said, if you live in a city, you don't need to own a car. So we are moving towards, fulfilling the Rio Summit agenda, the limits to growth agenda, the built-up was going, but this was sudden setback to whip up Islamophobia and to take over control under what's called the New World Order. So this set me back, and especially a few months later, I watched the documentary "Who Killed the Electric Car." I found out how Thomas Edison had electric traction ready before internal combustion engines, but how it was tweaked all the way. So while on this track, I attended a UN summit about 7 years back, and in that, every official I met said that we are fed up with these sovereign nation states bullying over us. They don't allow us to fulfill our agenda, the lofty ideals for which United Nations Environment Program, and this was particularly against land degradation, desertification, and uh, drought. So I'll start with an adage with this background that you don't start digging a well when you are thirsty. My professor at IIT used to put it more casually. He would say, don't beat around the bush, beat at the bush. So I'll come to the theory of constraints, what it talks about the critical link. The critical link was already clearly identified in the second Provisional World Parliament itself, which incidentally happened in Delhi in 1985 and inaugurated by the President of India, the then President of India, Gani Zail Singh. And it had a World Legislative Act number 6, which specified a provision called Earth Emergency Rescue Administration. As I was discussing with Dr. Martin on the way, that when there's already a legislation, then it can only be amended. There is a flaw in the current functioning of the Provisional World Parliament, which doesn't categorize amendments separately. It rather increases the number of WLAs. So there's another WLA 91 that appears now in 2025 16th Provisional World Parliament, which again is in India. So I'm just pulling out a document from the WLA 6 from the website. And this talks about a structure for Earth Emergency Rescue Administration, in which it talks about firstly executive director and 5 regional directors. It talks about a board of trustees of 200 people, as we just talked about. But over time, the planetary emergency that was identified has become extreme. So I would rather start from the grassroots and just suggest a structure and conclude my presentation with that. So in the 16th Provisional World Parliament, we also had a very interesting presentation on GLOKI, Global Voter ID Card, which we given the global digital public infrastructure is a distinct possibility, by World Services Authority head Mr. David Gallup. So combining that, we have around 8.2 billion people, global citizens as sovereign. So that's the first recognition of every individual as a sovereign. We combine using principles from one of our partner organizations, a very large organization called Provisional Neurocracy Parliament of India, which probably Dr. Merchant and many others may know about, Father Edwin. So, in fact, Dr. Merchant, you'd be interested to know, Father Edwin kind of instigated me about 3 months back to start and lend his support, which has led to this momentum that lots of you are saying. So they have a concept called sociocracy that they practice in every meeting, and we fit that agenda today in terms of a meeting should not have more than 12 participants in to have a conclusive discussion. So they have a grassroots level entity called neighborhood community, which comprises of 30 families. Now I've just unpacked that. Now 30 families with average family size of 3 to 4 turns out to be a number close to 108. So I've taken the 108 number for multiple other reasons as well. 108 is multiple of 1 to the power 1, 2 to the power 2, and 3 to the power 3. It is the distance between Sun and Earth as 108 times multiple of diameter of Sun. And 108 times diameter of Earth is diameter of Sun, and 108 times diameter of Moon is the distance between Moon and Earth. So with the astronomical uh, coincidence also is there, significance of the number 108. So 108 individuals form a kutumb, because we are talking about Vasudhaiv Kutumbakam. So we start with the grassroots kutumb. And these 108 members, they choose their kutumb director as part of the Emergency Rescue Earth Administration grassroots embodiment. There are thus 75 million kutumb directors at the grassroots level, foot soldiers. Then next we have 108 kutumb forming a village or a gram. So there are about 700,000 village directors. If 108 villages comprise a district, a janpad, so there are 6,048 district directors, which also double as a electoral district, or in case of India as a parliament seat, constituency. Then 108 districts comprise a province or a prant, and 60 such provinces headed by each provincial director cover the population of 8 billion. Now, 5 regional directors that is already specified in WLA 6 take care of 12 provincial directors each. So, and those 5 regional directors then have an executive director, because executive energy is very important to place the final accountability in our collective learning, in our collective wisdom, both from the Eastern philosophy as well as Western structures. Executive energy has been found to be very important. In Indian terminology, it's called Apt Purush. Apt Purush is a sense that if an individual, let's say Dr. Martin, or let's say Professor Ajay Singh, if you represent the welfare of all 8 billion people, then every time we don't need to go back for, because decision making cannot happen beyond 10 to 12 people. So we use this infrastructure to create a Vasudhaiv Kutumbakam grassroots to global governance system that focuses on the critical link of addressing the extreme planetary emergency. At the same time, the board of trustees, what's the constitution? So it has been specified that it should be 200 members, and then there is a approximate indication. I'm sharing a new categorization as a proposal that WCPA, which is convening the PWPs, has a presidium of 5 people. So the 5 board of trustees come from WCPA. Similarly, we are talking to a very large organization. In fact, we have not wasted a minute in our travel time. We had an online conference with our Russian team from World People's Assembly. Now, for if you may not know about World People's Assembly, it's world's largest civic society organization, which started off as Eurasian People's Assembly in 2017. And Dr. Mehta introduced me to this recently, to a meeting on 1st of December in Delhi, where the Secretary General Andriy Belyanev could not come, but the Deputy Secretary General, Ms. Svetlana Smirnova, was here, and we had a great interaction. So now WPA has five nominees on the board of trustees. Uh, Similarly, Vibes Global Alliance, which comprises of large number of organizations like PNPI, like Global Trust, and many others, has five members on the trustee. Another five members comes from another very large organization, worldwide organization, with lots of UN insiders, like Dr. Astrid Stuckelberger, Dr. Peter McCullough. These are all humanitarian, brave medical fraternity who risk their life and limb. One of the persons from Germany, he is actually in jail because of this. Uh, World Council for Health has five representation. Similarly, the CSOs around the world, like Baha'i and many others that are represented here, have another 60. So 20 plus 60, and then 60 provinces, sorry, they nominate two trustees each. So 120 plus 60 plus 20, that's the 200 composition that I'm proposing. And today, on the auspicious day of 12th of December, uh, day before yesterday was Human Rights Day. And unfortunately, if you would all know, the Nakba was going on. The Palestine genocide was going on while the Human Rights Declaration happened in 1947. Uh, Now, the point is that we need to end this treachery and deception and move away from what I call the clash of civilizations narrative, which has the multipolar dominance, one-upmanship, fighting for superiority, to a concert of civilizations where civilizations discover each other's synergy, and the diversity becomes the elixir of life towards a peace with global harmony, towards sustainability with intergenerational justice that you talked quite a deal about, and prosperity with equity and inclusion. That's the dream for a new narrative of concert of civilizations. Uh, my point is that we are already 81 years late, according to the timeline kept by the founder of WCPA, Philip Isley, who said in 1991 that we are 47 years behind. Now, I believe that we don't need anyone's permission, because by its very design, and as Dr. Martin has been reiterating, that we are no longer just a civic society organization, we are a democratic earth government in the making. I think we need to even pull a stop, and I would like to suggest that the critical link, after it's addressed, which is the extreme planetary emergency, then only we must consider the fifth constituent assembly. Otherwise, it will derail and distract us from the focal point, which is to stop the wars and genocide, which is to stop the ecological degradation and to reverse it, which is huge amount of effort. And this will require the grassroots to global governance structure of a new Earth Emergency Rescue Administration, or NERA, which incidentally in Sanskrit means water.